We kind of talked for the last 2 weeks about how you just don't want to overreact to too much in spring football. We're trying to cover it, trying to have discussion, we're trying to create opinion, but it's a fool's errand at times to totally overreact to one practice or one drill or one thing you saw. But at times, an appropriate reaction has to be brought to the table. And that is what I will bring here and what Jeremy will bring here when you hear what Brian Kelly had to say about the offensive line, specifically what they're doing with true freshman Will Campbell.
I think some pieces are starting to, come together there. We moved Campbell, to the left tackle position. I think he's done a really nice job there. It gives us a little bit more flexibility moving, now you've got, Dummerville and a Wire, to kind of tag team. And so, with Dellinger coming back, he gives us now some flexibility. Now we can move him inside. He can, he played tackle last year. So, it's starting to come together for us a little bit. Turner's done a nice job at the center. You guys will get a chance to talk to him today about that. We wanted to make him available primarily because of that, because that offensive line is, starting to, show kind of a little bit of consistency in terms of the guys that we're rolling out there. So, again, it's early, we're 7-8 practices into it, but we are starting to see a little bit of consistency there. And I think it started when we decided to put the young guy at the left tackle position, and things kind of fell into place from there.
Look, that's not mincing words. That's saying we put the freshman at left tackle, and then the other dominoes fell into place. Like, that's the move we made. That's not like, let's see what it looks like in a drill. Me listening to that says, right now, he's the left tackle. That's a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's a huge deal. Now, I know it's very scary for a lot of people. True freshman, this guy probably should be getting ready for prom right now. But, he's out here at practice, probably earning the reps to be the number one left tackle right now. It's daunting, but if there's anyone can do it, I think it's Will Campbell. He fits every single prototypical box you can check. He does that. He's nasty. He wants to block people. He wants to be aggressive, and he's hungry to play. And I think if you have a guy like that and they're checking all the boxes and they're doing everything that they can, you look at the production you got from left tackle last season, why not to have one of the best offensive linemen in the country come in and try to earn that job? And to me, I'm always in a favor of let the best player play. And if Will's playing the best right now, I'm not upset at all with him earning that job if he's earned it. And now you have a lot more flexibility. A guy I haven't been hearing much from is Miles Frazier. That's another guy that can possibly be in the mix. And now you got multiple guys that you can kind of put around that line. And it sounds like Charles Turner is picking it up at center. So this line can be a lot better than last year. I don't know if that's saying too much, but if Will Campbell's going to be that guy, it definitely helps his offensive line out a ton.
Campbell Wire's your returning starter at left tackle. I mean, we understand how he got there with Rosenthal being dismissed from the team right there before the season started, but he was your left tackle. And then for Brian Kelly to come on and be like, yeah, well, we got Wire and Dumerville who can be kind of a tag team over there. I mean, that's moving him. Like there's no two ways to look at that. Now things can change a lot between now and the first game against Florida State, but that to me was as meaningful a soundbite as I've heard from spring in a long time. I mean, we'll do this a little bit later in the show, but he opened with the first question was about quarterbacks. The soundbite that I've got is 1 minute and 10 seconds, and there was not a single thing said. I mean, it's a total waste of an answer. And this, when he got the question, was like, well, and it wasn't even about Will Campbell. It's like, what do you think about the offensive line? He's like, well, once we moved Campbell, the whole thing kind of fell into place. It's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the question would be, what did they see in Will Campbell that would make them make that move?
As a true freshman,
emotional maturity. Generally you come in as a freshman, you don't know where their maturity level is emotionally. If they get beat on a play, how do they come back the next play? Is it going to affect them? He moves on to the next play. And I just think it's an emotional maturity that he carries as a freshman that's made him a guy that we can plug in as such a young player. And you don't know until you do it because he's going to have some failures and see how he handles himself. And he just bounces right back in there and gets after it. And so that's kind of what we saw the first 3 or 4 practices. We wanted to make sure that he had that kind of maturity. and we saw it over 3 or 4 practices and said, all right, it's time. Let's get him in there.
I mean, you've been out there. You've seen young guys be totally overwhelmed by the moment. You've probably seen young guys ready to roll. I mean, what's the difference?
No, it's a huge deal. And I think, for a young freshman, obviously you're going against high school talent in the state of Louisiana. But when you're asked to be, the starting left tackle, now you're going to have to block guys like Will Anderson. And something tells me those guys are going to beat you a couple times. And if you don't have the emotional maturity to, go on to the next play and not let that play, wreck you, you can get dominated for a whole game. And Will Campbell strikes me as a guy that's the exact opposite of that. He has that competitive nature to want to go out there and win and compete time and time again, and those are the type of guys you want to have across your offensive lineman. Yeah, you're going to give up some plays. You might get called for a holding, or you may jump off sides or false start, but how you respond is so important because you got to play for 60 minutes, and Will seems like he's checking all those boxes that you want to see.
It's, I mean, the days of LSU recruiting 340-pound high school offensive linemen under Brian Kelly, I think, are over, and it just is a matter of circumstance that Will Campbell was already in this class when Brian Kelly came in, but that's the guy, that's the body type, that's the prototype to what he wants to bring in on the offensive front. He would like to have guys grow into their spot as opposed to get in better shape. That's just kind of what we've learned from him since he came in here. So that's the guy he would have tabbed as a guy he wanted, and certainly now part of this program. And I think it's a really big deal because as we look at this LSU offense, we think that they're going to put a quarterback under center who is functional, if not spectacular, and they're going to have some skill position guys on the outside that are stars, and they've got some deep talent in the running back room. It's just a matter of how well they function up front, and it wasn't good enough last year for most of the year. Maybe if you start moving some things around, you give Brad Davis a whole spring, summer, and fall to get ready, it moves. Are you surprised that Will Campbell is given this nod this early?
No, I'm not. I mean, I've said it all along. I mean, I think I put in take it or leave it one day, and I've always been in that camp. To me, he checks the boxes, man. That kid, you watch him going on those one-on-one drills. No one's dominating him. He's competing. If he knows the offense, that's already a huge step in an advantage because everyone's learning it at the same pace. It's all new for everyone. So you don't have to worry about, hey, a guy's been in this offense for 3 or 4 years already. They really know the system. No, everyone's learning from scratch. So there's really not, anything that I think will be holding him back at this point, especially you look at the production you got from left tackle last season. I think Will Campbell can challenge, man, and now it just gives you so much depth everywhere else across that offensive line and guys who've played other positions. I'm all with it, man, and if he can come in there and do that and be that stalwart, freshman all-SEC guy, that's going to be huge for this offense because I trust the quarterback position. It seems like all of those guys are in a pack right now, kind of bunched up together. If you give any of those guys protection in the run game, it's going to help this offense out tremendously when you look at the receivers they have on the outside. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.